We want to have a look now at how we form and then solve linear equations. So we need to be aware of some of the key words like we've talked about before. So let's have a look in this example. It talks about Hugh having 3 times as many, so there's our number, 3 times as many marbles as Kristen. And if Kristen had another 20 marbles, so another, let's think about what that word means, 20 marbles, she would have had twice as many, another number, as Hugh. How many marbles did each person have? Well, let's start with this question. How many marbles did each person have? Or how many people have we got? We've got 2 people, don't we? So we've got, I'm going to say H for Hugh and for K for Kirsten. And let's think about what the variable itself would be. The question asks how many marbles did each person have? So we're going to say H is the number of marbles that Hugh has, and K is the number of marbles that Kirsten has. Okay, so what I've done is I've just gone to the question, how many marbles did each person have? And that's telling me what I need to define it to be. I need to define it to be the number of marbles each person's got. Okay, so that's my first step. Once I've done that first step, I've now got to turn this little paragraph here into some equations. So let's have a look at this one. Hugh had 3 times as many marbles as Kirsten. Okay, now this is a very common thing to see, this twice as many or this many times as many. And this is an area that people make mistakes in very, very quickly. So we've got 2 possible ways that we could write this equation. We could say H is equal to 3K, or we could write K is equal to 3H. Okay, these are the 2 possibilities. One of them's right, one of them's wrong. So let's look at the sentence. The sentence says, Hugh had 3 times as many marbles as Kirsten. So Hugh's number, the number of marbles that Hugh has, is 3 times bigger than the number that Kirsten has. So Kirsten's number is 3 times smaller. So that means if I take the small number from Kirsten and multiply that by 3, that will tell me how many marbles Hugh has. Okay, and so that's why this is the correct equation. Even though our gut instincts often tell us to write this equation, it is not the right one to do. Okay, Kirsten has a smaller number of marbles and Hugh has 3 times as many. So we'll take the smaller amount and multiply that by 3 to get the bigger number that Hugh has. Okay, so we're going to call this equation number 1. Then we've got to look at the second equation. So, second sentence. If Kirsten had another 20 marbles, so she had 20 more, so if she had this many plus 20, she would have had twice as many as Hugh. Okay, so again, twice as many as Hugh, and if she had had another 20 marbles. Okay, so we're going to say in this case that the number of marbles that Kirsten has plus another 20 would be, that means that she would have had, this total would have been twice as many as Hugh had. And so this is equation number 2. So now that we've got 2 equations, we've formed those equations, then now we can go and do the algebra to solve it. So what I'm going to do is I'm looking at this equation here, H equals stuff. I'm going to substitute equation 1 into 2. So I'm going to replace the H in this equation here with what H is equal to, which is 3K. So that's my instructions. Substitute equation 1 into equation 2. So I'm going to write down equation 2, K plus 20 equals 2H. And now in place of the H, I'm going to replace H with 3K. Okay, so now I've got this, so I need to do 2 times 3k, and that's going to give me 6k. So k plus 20 is equal to 6k. Now I need to get the k's all on one side and the numbers on the other to solve for it. So I'm going to leave this k here. This 6k, I'm going to move that to the other side. So that needs to move across. And this 20 is a number by itself, so that needs to go across to the right-hand side. So I'm going to leave that k there. This 6k here, that is a positive, so when it crosses the equal sign, it's now going to become a minus 6k. And this 20 is a plus 20 on the left, so when it moves across, it's going to become minus 20. So now I need to do k, and this is 1k. We're just lazy and don't write the 1, but that's there. 1k take away 6k leaves me with minus 5k's equals negative 20. And now I need to get rid of this negative 5. So I'm going to take that to the other side, and remember this is doing negative 5 times k, so I need to do the opposite of multiplying, which is divide. That will cancel to leave me with k equals negative divided by negative is positive, 20 divided by 5 is 4. So that tells me k equals 4. Now what was k again? Let's go back up to our definition. K is the number of marbles that Kirsten has. Okay, so we know now that Kirsten has 4 marbles. I still need to find out how many marbles Hugh has got though. So that's what we need to do now. And I know I've got an equation here. Hugh equals, the number of marbles that Hugh has is equal to 3 times the number of marbles Kirsten has. So now I'm going to substitute k equals 4 into equation 1. So h is equal to 3k, and I'm going to replace the k with the number 4. So 3 times 4 is 12. So that means Hugh has 12 marbles. So now we need to write our answer in our sentence, and we're going to say Hugh has 12 marbles, and 12 marbles is 3 times the amount that Kirsten has, and the amount that Kirsten has plus another 20 gives me 2 times the number of marbles that Hugh has. So Hugh has got 12 marbles and Kirsten has 4 marbles. And that's the answer to example number 1. Okay, let's now have a look and think about our second example that we've got here. So our second example now is looking at buying apricots and pears. Okay, so example number 2. So let's have a look here. So Emma is going to buy 6 apricot and 5 pears, and they cost her $4.80. If she bought 4 apricots and 3 pears, that would cost Erin $3.10. And we want to find the price per apricot and the price of each pear. So there's that last sentence is where we're going to start. Calculate the prices of apricots and pears. That tells me that's what my variables need to be. So I need to have a variable for the price of apricots and a variable for the price of pears. So that's our first step. So I'm going to say A is equal to the price of apricots, and P is going to be equal to the price of pears. Okay, so that's my first step, is to find the variables. Now I'm going to have a look and say, okay, now I need to convert these sentences into an equation. So she tells us that if Emma buys 6 apricots and 5 pears, then that'll cost her $4.80. Okay, so that's the total. In total, all these apricots and pears together will cost $4.80. So I know I'm going to have an equation that says equals $4.80. I also know that I'm talking about 6 apricots and I'm talking about 5 pears. So now I need to think, if I take 6 apricots and multiply that by the price each apricot is, and then I'd add on to that the price of pears multiplied by 5. So 6 apricots times the price of each apricot plus 5 times the cost of each pear. That will give us a total cost of $4.80. So that is equation number 1. Do the same thing for the next one now. So the next one says 4 apricots and 3 pears cost Erin $3.10. So it's in total it's costing $3.10. So the cost of all this apricots and pears together is $3.10. And it talked about that would be when she bought 5 apricots, so 4 apricots times the price of those apricots plus 3 pears times the cost of each pear. And that's going to give us equation 2. So now we can choose how we solve this, whether we want to eliminate or whether we want to substitute. And I look at this and go, apricots, pears equals numbers. So these are kind of already lined up. So I think I'm going to use elimination for this one. So what am I need to do to make it into the right format? Okay, well, I'm first of all going to choose whether I'm going to eliminate P or whether I'm going to eliminate A. So I'm going to start with P's actually. Okay, so at the moment I've got a 5p and a 3p, and I need to find the coefficient, the lowest common multiple of 5 and 3. So I think the lowest common multiple is going to be 15. So I need to turn this 5p into a 15. So 5 times what equals 15? 5 times 3. So I'm going to multiply the entire equation 1 by 3. And remember that means multiplying each piece in that equation by 3. Then when I look at equation number 2, I've got a 3p there and I want to make that into a 15p. So 3 times what equals 15? 3 times 5. So I'm going to multiply equation 2 by 5, and I'm multiplying every piece in that equation by 5. So that's my first step. So 6a times 3 is going to give me 18a, plus 5p times 3 will give me 15p, and $4.80 times 3 will give me $14.40. So I'm going to call that equation number 3. Now I'm going to do equation number 2 and multiply all of the pieces there by 5. So 4a times 5 is going to give me 20a, plus 3p times 5 will give me 15p, and $3.10 times 5 is going to give me $15.50. And that's going to be equation number 4. Okay, now I'm going to eliminate p's. So at the moment I've got a 15p and a 15p, and if I was to add those two equations together, 15p plus 15p, that would give me 30p. So I can't add these equations together because I need to eliminate that p. So I'm going to subtract everything in this equation, because 15p take away 15p, that will then eliminate the p's to leave me with a 0. So let's start with this. 18a take away 20a. So 18a take away 20 is going to be minus 2a. 15p take away 15p will disappear and go to 0. Equals 1440 take away 1510, and that's going to leave me with negative $1.10. Okay, nearly here. I've got a, well, I want a, I've got negative 2a, so that's negative 2 times a. The opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing both sides by negative 2. They cancel to leave me with a equals, now negative divided by negative is positive, $1.10 divided by 2, so half of $1.10 is 55 cents. Okay, so I have now found the price, remember that's what we're doing, I have now found the price of apricots, and the price of apricots is 55 cents, so each apricot costs 55 cents. Now I need to go and find what the cost of the pears is. Okay, so I'm going to substitute A equals 0.55, and I can choose equation 1, 2, 3, or 4 to use. I could use any of those equations. I think I'm going to use equation 2, just because I feel like using equation 2. So I'm going to substitute A equals 0.55 into equation 2. So I'm going to get 4A plus 3P equals $3.10. And I'm going to replace that A with 0.55. So it's going to be 4 times 0.55 plus 3P equals $3.10. So 4 times 55 cents is going to give me $2.20 plus 3P equals $3.10. Now I need to think, what piece do I do next? So I look at that and I think, right, I've got that 3P stays together until I've got rid of this number by itself. So I'm going to move that number across first. So this is a positive 2.2. So when I move it across, it's going to become negative. So I'm leaving the 3P alone, equals, and the 310, they stay where they are. Move that across, minus $2.20. So 3P equals, so $3.10 take away $2.20 is going to leave me with 90 cents, 0.9. The last thing I want to do now is get rid of this 3 so that I've got the P by itself. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3, and that's going to leave me with P equals 0.30. So I've solved now and found my solution. So what is it, this P that I found? Well, P, remember, is the price of pears. So A is the price of apricots. So now I need to interpret that in a sentence. Okay, so I can say each apricot costs 0.55, and notice I've put the $sign there because we're talking about a price, and each pear costs 0.30 or 30 cents, and there's our solution.